We're joined with Rosa Ainley here in Leysdown. Rosa Ainley is the lead artist of the Sea Change project. Now, when we caught up with you a month or so ago now, it was the early stages of the Sea Change project. There's now been a launch. Can you tell us more about that launch and what was in the launch and the purpose of the launch?
Sure, thanks Daniel. Yes, I think it was midsummer last time we were talking, and since then we've completed the first phase of the project, which is putting together the vision for the rejuvenation of the public realm in Leysdown. What happened last week was we had the launch of the project, which involved the presentation of a small booklet called Leysdown Rose Tinted, which is the title of the vision, and we had another little party on the Spinney with the Mayor spoke and the Chief Executive of Swale Borough Council spoke, and Big Fish played some great music, and it was quite serious but also lots of fun, and people were dancing and stuff. But I should probably tell you more about what's actually in the vision. What we're hoping in the next phase is that someone is being employed by the borough council, by Swale Borough Council, in order to further the project and to engage in some community development work and a lot of fundraising. And the fundraising needs to cover various aspects of the built environment, so things like lighting, and we're also looking at transport. We're looking at the lighting project involves what we're calling the Leysdown illuminations, and we're suggesting a series of bird forms, and the birds will be of birds that are native to either native to Leysdown or birds who winter and nest here, and we're going to recreate the outlines in either neon or LED, and they'll perch, as it were, above the shops and arcades on the promenade. So they'll provide some much needed lighting, and also they'll be quite gorgeous as well, I think. But they'll be quite educational, because then people will wonder what kind of birds these are, and there'll also be some information available, so people who are interested in getting involved in bird watching will have some information to take that further. Then, aside from that, there's a couple of projects on the Spinney itself. There's a linear rose garden to bring some scents and colour, and just a sense of abundance, really, to the Spinney area. Also on the Spinney, some playable trees, which are some innovative play opportunities for both children and adults, and each play area brings with it a mature tree, so it brings back some tree planting to the Spinney, which by some accounts anyway is called the Spinney because it used to be wooded, but there are some other stories about that, but maybe that's for another interview. Then moving down the promenade to the beach plaza, we're proposing a double stage and sandpit, a double-sided stoop, which in the long term will be a stage for events and community meetings and so on, and in the shorter term will be a sandpit with seating for seat views and so on. As well as these, we're proposing a series of workshops to specifically involve Leysdown residents, in some cases in the actual design of some of the projects, and in other cases in building skills and engaging in new leisure pursuits. We're also looking at improving transport access in Leysdown, so that people can not only get across the island to leisure activities, but can also access education and employment opportunities more easily, because at the moment the transport facilities are quite difficult, quite poor really, and also quite expensive for people on low incomes. And then finally we have a series of projects called In Our Wildest Dreams, which is fairly self-explanatory, I guess, which is the bigger, very long-term, very expensive projects such as rebuilding the beach and realigning the carriageway at the beach plaza so that the traffic's rerouted elsewhere. And all of these projects, these different strands of projects, come together to hopefully reinvigorate the public realm in Leysdown, and we're assuming that we're going to start as soon as we can, and if we can fundraise enough money, we're suggesting that this range of projects will take a good 5 years to implement. So there's a lot of time and a lot of projects and a lot of effort yet, but I guess the launch last week was it was the ending of the first phase of the project, but also the beginning of the actual implementation of all the projects in the future.
Now, these projects have been laid out in a pink booklet. Can you tell us more about that booklet and perhaps how our listeners can actually obtain this booklet?
Okay, yes, the pink booklet, it's a very pink booklet, and it's pink because it's called Leysdown Rose Tinted. As I said, that's the title of the vision. The booklet really falls into two parts. You could say that the first part is the vision, the more visionary, if you like, aspects of the project. So it lays out. It also lays out the projects themselves, and there's a short piece of writing that I did specifically based on my experience this summer of spending a lot of time in Leysdown in our Portakabin headquarters. The second half of the booklet is the more nuts and bolts, the schedule, the people who we're imagining we may approach for funding, the strategic elements, how it fits into local plans and regional plans and that kind of thing. People can access copies of the booklet by contacting the council, I believe. Otherwise, if anyone is going to council events, I imagine there'll also be at council events, and any future Leysdown Vision events, we will of course have copies of the booklet, and they're free.